The Attorney General of the Federation, Abubakar Malami, has called for increased funding for the justice sector. Malami made this known during a budget defense session at the National Assembly, where he stated that several agencies within the sector are in dire need of funding to achieve their objectives and effectively implement reforms. He says poor funding has affected the speedy dispensation of justice in the country.
The rule of law is a fibre upon which democracy revolves. It is also critical to note that the sector is critical to the implementation of commitments of Nigeria to critical international conventions such as the United Nations Convention Against Torture, various international and regional human rights instruments, and the Rome Statutes establishing the International Criminal Court, among others. I wish to state that the conceptualization of our action plans and budget proposals was largely based on priorities targeted at involving a paradigm shift in our beloved country. The 2023 budget is therefore focused on the desire to rebuild the capacity of the justice subsector to meet with its ever-evolving complex national and international obligations, rebuild our ability to fight corruption, restore investors' confidence, recalibrate the economy, and inevitably facilitate peace and security in the nation. I therefore solicit your continued support and collaboration to achieve these mandates. I also wish to put on record the tremendous support we have enjoyed from the legislature, particularly with respect to passing much-needed bills into law, which have helped to reinvigorate and provide legal framework for the implementation and administration of justice. With your support, the justice sector has been transformed into an avenue not only for law enforcement, but indeed for revenue generation through the huge sums of money and assets being recovered by the ministry and other agencies of government, and also help to plug leakages in the financial system through elaborate monitoring and compliance mechanisms. For instance, it is on record that the Federal Ministry of Justice has recorded appreciable recovery of stolen assets, which were promptly deposited into the government treasury and are currently being utilized for critical infrastructural development across the country, inclusive of the Second Niger Bridge, Lagos-Ibadan Expressway, and indeed Kano-Abuja Expressway, among others. We have also taken significant steps to support measures to ensure peace and security, fight terrorism in all its ramifications, and enhance access to justice. Evidence reveals that the administration of justice, which guarantees sustainable peace, equity, and fair play, is undeniably capital intensive. In the circumstances, we need to reconceptualize the existing funding pattern of the justice sector to support critical reforms in the sector. I wish to state that the ministry and practically all the parastatals under its purview are in dire need of funding. Consequently, I wish to solicit for your support for sufficient funding to support ongoing reform initiatives in the justice sector, which has spiral effects on national development and entrenching democracy. As the year comes to an end and 2023 becomes, I am looking forward to a more refreshing collaboration between the justice sector and all the distinguished members of the National Assembly for a seamless administration of justice in Nigeria. Distinguished senators and stakeholders, once again, I thank you for this opportunity, as well as your institutional support for the justice sector, which has proven to be not misplaced in any way, taking into consideration the collective efforts arising from your legislative processes, legislative functions, and indeed the bills and acts that translated into national development, both in terms of the fight against corruption, security, economy, and massive infrastructural development.